Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Madrid Chess Festival. This is the round 4 recap. This is the road to Grandmaster Series. And what a road it has been. It is currently 1 o'clock here in Madrid, Spain. The reason I'm up so late today is because I just finished rounds 4 and 5, actually. I finished 2 rounds. I'm uploading round number 4 now because I was trying to rest, but tomorrow there is only 1 game. So tomorrow there is no morning round, so I'm going to sleep in. I'm going to get a chance to take a deep breath and maybe play paddle, as one does in Spain, and also stays out till 12, 1 o'clock, drinking sangria. I'm juice. And it's been a fun tournament so far. And I will remind you once again to participate in the Chessly Community Challenge. It will stop on June 15th, so please do your daily tasks on Chessly so you can reach level 3 and unlock the ultimate reward. And Patreon subscribers will be getting an early drop to recap number 5. I saw some comments that were saying somehow I was like doing that deliberately. I'm just doing that because I'm trying to post a video about each game. So, and now in the ultimate plot twist, Hikaru is farming me for views, which is, I love it. Anish Giri was on Twitter today saying he finds it funny he's clicking through my games instead of vice versa. So, I love it. Please keep covering the tournament. Hopefully it will motivate and inspire people. Like 40 people were outside the chess club today. It was super cool. And shout out to the floating head in the background. That's my boy, roommate, international master. He's giving a little, maybe he'll stop by, I don't know. International master Alexander Ostrovsky. So in the 4th round, I was playing Akira Nakata, and I had prepared something for this game, which I didn't get to play, and I will not tell you what I prepared because I would like to play it against somebody else in the future. He's an English player, and he beat me. He beat me a couple of years ago. I played the reverse Sicilian, and I didn't really know what I was doing. I was improvising, and in this tournament, he has been kind of playing new openings. Like a couple of rounds ago, he played d4. And I had a feeling, we got to a Queen's Gambit declined, I had a feeling he was going to look at my game against Pepe Cuenca, which went, some of you may remember, it went c4, e6, d4, d5, and against knight f3, instead of playing knight f6, allowing Pepe to play the Catalan, I played a6, just to narrow down his options. So I think Aki might have thought that I was going to do this again. But then I played h6. So in my repertoire for this tournament are different lines of the Queen's Gambit declined. And I did this because it's a really solid opening. It's very flexible. You can play it against every line that white plays that's not pawn to e4, because against that we got the ye old trusty Caro-Kann, as we saw in round number 1. And I basically was like, well, he's not going to know the opening because he usually plays the English, and I'm not going to know the opening, so it'll be 2 idiots who don't know the opening. He went bishop f4. He wasn't thinking for 12 minutes. He was like late by 10 minutes. I went here. He took. I took. The entire purpose of h6 is to play bishop here and knight here. It's a good surprise weapon. It's not something that can really be a consistent repertoire, but I felt like for this game it was good. You know, in the future, I might play here or go back to a6 or play knight b7. Like there's a million. Play the regular Queen's Gambit decline. Play the Rogozin. There's a lot of different moves here that black can play. He played bishop f4. We traded. And then he played e3. I castled. Takes. Bishop d3. So here's something really stupid happened. I was sitting at the game, and I was thinking, like, I'm pretty sure what my notes say to play here is bishop to g4. If h3 you take, then after the queen takes, you just play very solidly on the light squares, and you put your knight on d7. Like, this is what I remembered. But then I was like, wait a minute, but I also know that sometimes you just play b6 and c5 and bishop b7. You just go for very quick counterplay. So as it turns out, I was right. And here I decided not to play bishop g4 because I hallucinated. I hallucinated something. I hallucinated that after bishop g4, h3, bishop takes, queen takes, c6, castles, knight d7, I was like, oh, I don't like this because he's going to go queen g3 and then take with his h-pawn. Except the h-pawn moved to h3. So he can't do that. The pawn is not there. So essentially, I had hallucinated the following position. I hallucinated basically this. And I thought, oh, how dull and boring. I mean, it's just completely equal, but I was like, oh, I don't want to, next time I'll play it. And so I played b6, he castled, I played bishop b7, and I was sitting at the board like, Oh, he played rook c1, which is a very natural move. He's trying to play knight b5. And here I was stuck. I was like, do I play for c5 right away? Or do I play a6? You know, my coach told me, you know, don't always get into a fight. You know, like, think about what your opponent wants. If it was blitz, I would have probably gone a6. But then I was thinking, like, isn't he going to go knight e5? And then isn't he going to go f4? And the line that I saw in my head was, I liked playing c5 right away because it stops knight to e5, because I actually put my knight on c6 behind the pawn, not d7, which is more natural because you keep your light-squared bishop open. And I thought about playing c5, and I thought about playing a6, and so I decided to go with c5 because I saw this, knight e5, c5, f4, knight c6, bishop b1. And yeah, the engine says that black is worse. So he defends his pawn. He, you know, gives a, and if I go here, you know, he's just going to play like g4, g5. Like, I'm just straight up getting checkmated because his knight is really strong. This is kind of like a worst nightmare scenario. I don't know this from anywhere. I just kind of, I don't know. I just kind of saw it and was like, uh-oh. So I decided to go c5. And the point is that now if he goes here, he doesn't have time to play f4 and bishop b1. And here I'm happy because I'm going to take on d4. Well, as it turns out, the best move is knight h4 and knight f5. And I saw it during the game, but the engine really likes it. I thought it wasn't that strong. I thought it was much more natural to go knight e5, but the engine really likes knight h4. He played this pretty quickly, which surprised me. And for a second, I was like, wait a minute, did I blunder? Like, did I make a mistake? These are called hanging pawns. When you have D and C like this, it's because they're kind of hanging, like out in the open. And white has E and B, or vice versa. And white just tries to put pressure on you. Sometimes you play D4, and you take. Sometimes you play C4, although allowing your pawns to be blockaded is not always a good idea. And he went queen b3, which I had overlooked. I looked at a lot of moves, but this move escaped me because I was like, oh, I always have a fork. Okay, I mean, there's nothing special about it. I could have traded. I didn't trade because I thought he's just going to play rook d1, and this looked really pleasant for him. I'm not in the business of making things pleasant for my opponent. So instead of that, I played queen e7, which that was a very logical move. I get off of the d file. I defend this, and I defend this. And I had prepared that if he goes queen a3, which is what he did in the game, I would go here. And in this position, I did not see a way for him to make progress. I didn't. I also considered playing knight c6 to put my knight on b4 and block his queen. But I didn't for some reason. Not really sure why. Maybe knight a4? Yeah, I think I thought that, again, remember I just said I don't like doing this. I didn't want to allow him to blockade my pawns. Again, it's fine, but somehow like my bishop is worse than his and my knights kind of suck, and okay, of course it's just equal, but so I wanted to keep the position fluid. He attacked me. I defended. I defended with this rook, although actually moving the f rook is probably also fine. I mean, again, he moved that rook, so I felt it's kind of like I should mirror what he's doing because I'm going to put my other rook on the d file. He went rook c2, and at this point I had multiple options. So I wanted to play rook c7. My original idea was to just battle with him on the c file, but this felt bad. And I'm very glad I spotted the idea. He utilizes my hanging queen and activates this knight. And now I'm in trouble. I can't take. And let's say I play queen f8 trying to take. He just plays knight b5. So let's say I play a6. Then he plays knight b3. And suddenly I'm going to lose a pawn. So what I decided here, I was like, okay, I'm not going to fight him on the c file. I'm going to play rook e8. And the idea of rook e8 looks like I'm trying to play c4. In fact, that was like kind of an idea for me. Like finally I have to play c4. He played rook c1. But c4 loses, not loses, but, and it loses to a really dumb reason, which I had foreseen, and which is why I played the move that I played in the game. So I was calculating c4, right? And we're going to trade. He's going to back up his bishop, and then life is good. So c4, queen e7, take, bishop e2, right? Here's the problem. When I go here and he trades with me, my rook is now not guarded enough. It's only guarded by my bishop. My rook moved off the 7th rank, the 8th rank. So I had seen this and I thought, oh, he's gonna go b3. Well, that's really messed up. Now I'm gonna lose my pawn, because this pawn is gonna get stopped and taken. So I thought, well, just bishop c6. Yeah, bishop c6, right? Smart idea. No, knight b2. Insane. He just leaves his bishop to hang because mine is hanging. So once I saw this, I was like, oh, that's annoying. Okay, good thing I have another knight. And I spent a lot of time on this move, or I spent a lot of time getting to this position because I couldn't decide if I wanted to take like this. I didn't like taking with the pawn because I just thought he moves his knight somewhere and then blockades me, or even knight d4. But I was very happy because I discovered something really cool. After bishop e4, queen e4, and I have back rank checkmate. So basically, if he takes here, I take, he takes, I take, and he can't take with the rook because back rank mate. So he has to take with the queen, and then I win his queen. And I get off of h7, courtesy of my fourth move. Actually, I escaped the back rank checkmate, which is pretty awesome. So, I was excited, and I spilled water. So once I saw this, I was like, oh, knight e4 is really nice. And then I saw another really cool idea, and I was very happy the engine blessed this. Not that, that's not the idea. Queen e4, knight c3. I saw this and was like, oh, this is really dangerous. I'm going to lose my pawn on a7. And he's attacking my bishop. Whoa. But actually, he can take the pawn. I go here, and I'm just much better. I have an attack. His queen is offside. And d4 is on the way. And yeah, the engine just straight up thinks black is like almost winning. So when things happen or don't happen in a game, which you calculate, even if, they, let's say, don't occur, it's very nice to see that you were playing correctly. And everything you calculated was correctly evaluated by the engine. Here, Akira spent like 20 minutes. Yeah. And I could tell he didn't really know how to make more progress. So he could maybe consider h3, which I thought was a logical move. At that point, I was even considering f5, like just bring another, like start playing for a win. Because I'm done kind of holding the position. But he went bishop e5. And so this move forces me to trade the bishops. And then he went back to c3, and I think he might have just either overlooked or decided like he wasn't going to play for an advantage anymore. That's it. All the pressure's off. Knight e4, here, queen d3, and rook d8. Oh, not rook d8. Not rook c8, rook d8. So we have this position. I've kind of caught up on time. And I just thought, okay, well, we're at move 22, and in 8 moves, I'll offer him a draw. I don't know. We'll see, right? Of course, I'm thinking maybe if he blunders all his pieces, then I'll win. So he goes knight d2, and I think he just straight up blundered right away. Because knight d2 is trying to trade, but he completely misses an idea I have, which is this, attacking his queen, and this securing access to d3. And suddenly I was thinking like, wait, I'm going to win. This is insane. I did not expect to win this game. Yeah, I was like playing some boring Queen's Gambit declined. But yeah, I played these moves fast because I realized the momentum of the game was shifting. Then I played knight d3, and I realized he blundered knight b4. I was like, what? What is he doing? If rook b2, c3. So he's straight up just losing a pawn. He straight up loses a pawn. He has to go here. I take, and I go to c3, and he goes here, stopping the fork. This skirmish happens, and now mentally I just have to prepare for playing for a win. Now, it's very difficult to formulate your thoughts here because you have an extra pawn, but like it's here. If the pawn could miraculously walk to a2, then I would be like -3, right? Because then the pawn would be restricting him. But how's it going to traverse the whole board? Also, I have an isolated pawn. So I can't do too much because that pawn is also a weakness. And so here I did, I played quickly, and I played a6 because I thought I have to make a fast move. I can't like think for 10 minutes. But the computer really likes rook b8 first, and then and only then a6. And the reason is he now has to spend a bit more time to get to the center. So let's say knight f3. Now I play rook b2. And now, let's say like queen f6, I don't actually allow his knight to the center. If he plays rook f1, then I go here. But this is like kind of vague. It's all vague. Like black is better. I mean, I went here and then I spent 2 minutes. I blocked him, and throughout here, I'm thinking, well, all right, like what do I trade, right? Like if I get to a rook endgame up this a pawn, I'm probably winning. If I get to a knight endgame, I'm probably winning because it's so far on the outside. If I get to a king and pawn endgame, maybe I'm losing. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm like, what do I do? And, I'm trying to play fast. Like you see my time. I'm trying to spend like a minute and a half each move because I don't want to, I get 30 seconds per move, but I don't want to get, to a minute. Like, so I'm trying to put pressure. And he's just kind of shuffling his knight around. He's improving his position. In the lesson that I did with Nick Sans, my coach, I might have even uploaded that part of that to YouTube. If I haven't, then it's probably on Patreon. We talked about endgames, and we talked about centralizing in the endgames, and like I thought of just playing this move and just letting him figure it out. I don't really know what my idea is, to be honest. Like I thought maybe rook c3, maybe d4. I don't know what I thought. And then I was just like, okay, you know what? The endgame will get much simpler if I trade the queens. He went here. This is a very smart move. The rook now exerts pressure on the 5th rank and my pawn. We traded, and I tried to trade my pawn because I thought I'm going to activate, I'm going to get to his king. He went here, I went rook c2. Also thought this was logical because I'm putting my rook on the 2nd rank, which, that's probably pretty good. But as you see, it's only minus 0.4, and I'm up a full pawn. So he has such a sufficient blockade that I can't really make much progress. And yeah, what can I say? I tried. I went here, but at this point I have 8 minutes. I realized I was not winning. Then I tried to maneuver and maybe try to play, but he went here, and then rook c3 was a nice move. And I can take his rook, then he takes my rook, I can take his knight, that's just not a good move. And I went here, and he's just winning my pawn. The pawn that he lost, but the pawn that he ultimately blockaded, and there was not much I can do about it, so... stretching my jaw. Yeah, this is the end. I mean, he played knight d7, he said, he considered maybe I could go here, and then knight c6, and... This endgame maybe is winnable because I'll just bring my king. But yeah, if I not knight d6, if I go knight e7, he just waits. He doesn't have to do anything. Like I can't maneuver my knight at all. He'll just play knight b8 and stop me. Like he'll play rook a2 and knight b8. Maybe not rook a2, maybe rook a8. This is his next move. Or this. So it's just a draw. And that's what happened. He went here. Here he offered me a draw because rook and 3 and rook and 3, is losable if you have brain damage, but not in a classical chess at a norm event. So 3 out of 4. I was pretty happy with this game. I played at 97.5% accuracy, which is, that's just like a random compliment from the computer. In reality, I think it was a good game. I'm very tired, but I was happy. I was under pressure in the opening. If he had played knight h4, it would have been a much more unpleasant game, I think. And I misremembered my preparation, but I've also literally never played the h6 Queen's Gambit Declined. In fact, I only studied it about 3 weeks ago specifically for this tournament, so I'm glad to get one game out of the way. And when you play one game in an opening like this, once you do the analysis, you never forget your prep. So 3 out of 4. Win, draw, win, draw. I won't spoil round 5. You'll have to wait for the recap or check out the Patreon. And yeah, by the way, I saw lots of theories like Levy uploads the video there first. Not quite. I actually recorded a whole separate thing. Like I recorded like a 10-15 minute kind of quick, in-depth, no nonsense, like skipping to the important parts. On YouTube, I tell the whole story because the game has a story. Like there's emotions of every move, you know, and I try to, and I think y'all are enjoying. So far, best chess tournament I've ever played, and also the quality of my games is very, very good. So I'm very happy, but very tired, and I will be going to bed. That's all. See you in round number 5. Get out of here.